Hey everyone, today we'll be doing a full demo and tutorial of Vapi, an application and software used to develop voice AI assistants. Personally, it's my favorite platform to use. I believe it's the most flexible. Other alternatives are stuff like Bland AI, SynthFlow, Air AI are all sort of equivalents, but I do prefer Vapi, especially if you're a developer, you're creating this for other companies, or if you have your own company. This platform allows you to do a lot more. The founders are great people, the team behind them, super talented. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know that for the best results, I encourage you to go down there, look at the Google Doc I created for this video, as well as sign up for Vapi and Make right now using the links in the bio to go along with the tutorial alongside me, because you don't just learn by watching these videos, you learn by doing it. And so if you're able to create this by the end of this full tutorial, you'll have a very good understanding of how to create voice AI assistants that are worth thousands of dollars. This is an incredibly lucrative skill, and by the end of this video, if you just follow along and do it with me, you'll have this skill as well. So let's get back to the video. So like I mentioned, I'll start out by going over a bunch of the features that Vapi has, and then I'll get into a live build and troubleshooting. You can see how I think through building an assistant, how I go through demoing it and testing it, and then you can also see sort of my workflow, what other tools I use to create a polished and well-rounded voice AI assistant. So here's the overview tab in Vapi. This is sort of your dashboard where you can see a broad overview. Here you have the total call minutes. And you can sort this by day, week, or month. And so the number of calls, the total money you've spent, the average cost per call. Here's some call analysis for the reason why the call ended. Here's the call duration by different assistants that you have deployed. This is similar to the average call duration. It'll show all your assistants, how many calls they've taken, and the average duration that they're actually on the phone. And then here in this platform tab is where really the meat of Vapi is. So this assistance tab is where we'll get to in a second when I start the demo. This has all your assistants that you created, as well as the user interface to actually create and edit them. This is where you buy a phone number from Vapi so you can actually use the AI voice assistant. Either import a number from Twilio or Vonage. This is specifically if you're outside the US, Canada, or certain countries. You may have to use Twilio or Vonage. You can't actually use Vapi's built-in system. You can buy a number straight from Vapi. And it's only $2 a month. Super cheap. You get to choose your own area code. They said it's only available for the US and Canada. So if you are outside those countries, super easy fix. You just go to twilio.com or Vonage and you can buy a number there and then import it. And then under files is where you have knowledge base documents. If you want any of your AI voice callers to have unique knowledge, this is where you would put that. You would import it, you can edit it. I'll show you a bit more about knowledge bases when I go through actually live building one of these assistants. But this is where you can organize and import all of those documents. So tools is a function that I haven't used super in depth yet, but basically you can connect automations that you create in other platforms like Make, Go High Level, and use those custom tools within Vapi and within the assistant, versus having to always call out to make.com or Go High Level to perform all those actions. So here is actually a new tab, which is called Flows. And so if you've ever used something like VoiceFlow, which is a text-based chatbot, or if you use like Bland AI's conversational pathways, this is similar. And like they mentioned, this is an alpha version, so I wouldn't rely too much on this, but for sure, Flows will certainly be something in the future, as well as right now, something that you will be able to use to have a more structured and predictable conversation with your users. So for example, you could have this block, having the assistant greet the caller, hello, how can I assist you? And so say you import a tool and you have a database of customers with different subscriptions, different customer queries, different customer IDs. What this tool could do is you can make a tool that uses make.com to go to your CRM or whatever has all the information about your customers. You could have it retrieve that information so that the assistant then knows, oh, I'm talking to Tommy Christ. He's the owner of a Rose AI, and he's been a client with us for 8 months. And now the assistant knows all of that and can give specific advice to the client based on the information that they have within their CRM, the company has within their CRM on that specific client. Subflow is actually something I have not heard about. And I'll have to look more into what a subflow actually is. That's how I expect flows to generally work. A lot of other platforms have things similar to this. So I guess we'll see, and hopefully I'll have a video coming out soon as I play more around with flows. Squads are another new feature in Vapi that are also sort of in alpha/beta testing, and you're really seeing them for the first time here. So say there's an inbound call from a client or potential client. This router will field that call, and it can detect whether it's a tech question, a customer support question, a sales question, and then it could route it to a completely different assistant you create in this assistants tab. And each of those assistants could have a unique knowledge base, a specific job that they are equipped with. And since it's not all of those packed into one assistant, all of those jobs like tech, sales, support, stuff like that packed into one assistant, you can sort of specialize the assistants, and Squads allows you to hand those off all on one call. And then the voice library, Vapi is connected with 11 Labs, which is the current leader in AI voices. The voice library basically lets you check out all the different voices you have at your disposal when using this platform, as well as being able to add your own if you want to clone your own voice or someone else's voice. And then I won't go into call logs right now, but that's pretty much what you could expect. It's a log of all the calls, all the information about them, transcripts, what have you. I just don't want to go into it because it shows my private phone number. And so yeah, let's get into an actual demo build of AI voice assistant I'm creating right now. So I will be creating a customer representative for my own company, Arose AI, that's meant to handle Q&As and other customer support questions. Let me create this assistant. The customer support, you can choose, sorry, you can choose one of these sort of quick start. I'll move myself. This is inbound Q&A. Templates that gives you sort of a base to work from. Or you can just start out blank. They're all pretty similar. And once you get used to the platform, you should have no problem sort of starting from any starting point and crafting the assistant that works best for you. So we'll start up here, and this just has basic information about the AI voice assistant, such as its cost per minute, its latency, which is how long it is expected to take to respond, as well as you can hover over these and see that's Vapi's fixed cost. This is how much it costs for the transcriber. This is for the LLM or AI model that's actually responding. Then this is for the voice. For my first message, I like the name Ava, so I'll say, so you could say something like, hi, this is Ava with Arose AI, how can I help you? Or I also like to kind of mention that you are an AI voice assistant for when prompting, and say it right away from the gate. Sort of set the client's expectations. You don't want to like try and trick them or anything. So I'll just say, hi, this is Ava, an AI customer support assistant with Arose AI. How may I help you? And so this system prompt is really the meat of the assistant, so let's get into that. So Vapi provides you with sort of a base template. This is fine, but it'll be more generic. And so what I like to actually do is, when you're just starting out, you can go to copy and paste this into a platform like ChatGPT and describe to ChatGPT your unique situation and what you're trying to use the voice assistant to, and ask it to transform this prompt into one that's applicable for your use case. So let's do that right now. So here I am within ChatGPT, and I'll make a quick ChatGPT prompt to change and alter the Vapi prompt to exactly what we want. So here I just wrote a quick ChatGPT prompt saying, alter this generic prompt to make it fit a customer support rep for my company, Arose AI, which is an AI development agency that creates voice AI solutions for small businesses. This prompt is an AI voice assistant that will mainly answer frequently asked questions and general customer support questions regarding my company. Please keep the original structure of the prompt, only changing what is necessary to make it unique for my use case. And then I also like to add, write the output in a code window. And then I'll do this, and you will see it'll put the output in this little black code window and that just basically makes it easier to copy. Copy this into Vapi once it's done, so it just finished up, and review how it actually did. So now I'll just review the prompt. I won't read all of it out loud, but I will stop and mention something if there's anything I decide to change. So you don't actually need telling her how her voice sounds, because that's already kind of built in. And then I also will change, I forgot to mention ChatGPT that this AI voice assistant is named Ava. So I have to change, it said, instead of using the name Ava, it said a Rose AI assistant. So I'll just change all those back to Ava as well. And then also, I don't really want this customer support rep to try and handle intricate problem solving challenges. So I'm just saying from basic inquiries to FAQs. And I don't want to say a broad array. I just want to say an array. You really don't want these assistants going outside the domain that you're building them for, and you kind of want to be clear about that. Part of this second paragraph you really don't need. This once again just describes what she does, so you don't need that again. But it is fine to say what the assistant will actually do. Guiding them through interactions is big. Offering real-time responses and advice, stuff like that, you're okay to keep. And then this major mode of interaction, you don't always need, but I find it is useful to have. What this prompt is actually doing is prompting ChatGPT for a response. And so ChatGPT naturally will respond with text. Unless ChatGPT knows or is prompted that its response will be used in audio, it may respond with bullet points or numbered lists. And that sort of sounds weird over audio. It doesn't flow. It's not how you would talk naturally, although it may be how you write. And so this major mode of interaction is somewhat important, but you can get away without it. I'm going to keep it here. And then I'm getting rid of this acknowledging every query with confirmation of her engagement, just because, say someone asks a question, you don't want every time for them to say, yes, I'm here, how can I help? But it's fine to say practice active listening. Then this last one is saying that Ava prepares customers to escalate calls smoothly to human colleagues when necessary, because there is a function, we'll get to it in Vapi, where you can actually forward calls to, say, your own personal cell if someone requests to talk to a human. And so obviously this is a first shot at a prompt, and likely will not be the prompt that we end up with at the end of this video, but you have to start somewhere, right? And then after we build out the rest of the assistant, is when we can really demo how this assistant works and what we may need to add to the prompt. And then over here in provider is where you see what actual large language model you're using to respond. So I always like to go with OpenAI. Although there are a bunch of different AI providers you can use, I find OpenAI is the most consistent and overall the best. And then GPT-4o, unless you have a super simple chatbot, if you're ever really interacting with people, I find GPT-4o is the most useful. And then this is knowledge base. We'll get back to this when we create an actual knowledge base, but this is where you would input that. Temperature is basically the variability of the responses. So if you put a super high temperature, your AI assistant may sound more human, more random, but they can really go off the rails. And then if you put it all the way down, the AI assistant will sound a lot more muted. They'll stick to the script almost exclusively and will really struggle with anything that varies outside of what it was built for. And it will sound just a lot more monotonous and repetitive. Anything under 1, it all depends on your use case, but 0.7 is generally fine. You really need to test it to find out what really works. And then max tokens is basically how big of a response the AI can give in one go. And so I like to keep this around 100. If you keep it too high, then the assistant can tend to ramble on, and so this can kind of limit that. And then detect emotion isn't super necessary. If you turn it on, basically it'll detect if someone's angry or raises their voice and will respond accordingly to that. But generally with what someone is saying, the AI will recognize if they're mad or happy. I don't usually like to include detect emotion in case it bugs out. And then make sure to publish every time you make an edit. And then here for the transcriber, you almost always want to use DeepGram. Unless you use a foreign language, there may be other transcribers that are best. DeepGram Nova 2 is simply the best, the cheapest. And so that's what I would almost always go with. For the voice, this is where it varies a lot more than sort of the AI provider or the transcriber. Some of my favorite options are 11 Labs is almost exclusively what I use. I know PlayHT people like, as well as Azure is sort of a more budget option, but also sounds good. And then OpenAI will soon be coming out with a voice that sounded pretty good at the GPT 4.0 demo. And so we just have to wait and see what that will sound like. But I prefer 11 Labs. They have a bunch of different voices. I like 11 Labs Sarah, and then using the 11 Turbo V2 model. And again, if you're doing this in a foreign language, you can use the 11 Multilingual V2. And something to note about these providers is depending on the voice provider you use, all of these additional configurations will be different. Each provider has a different set of things that you can alter or optimize for within the voice. And so generally, I like to keep these the same before I really test or demo the assistant. After that, if I find anything about the voice sounds weird, or I want to add background noise, what have you, then you can do that in here. Generally, there's not a huge need to. In this functions tab is where you can input tools like I mentioned before from platforms like Make or Go High Level, as well as your own custom functions. If you wanted something that books a call, will send an email to a booking link while on the call to the client, you can do that here. As well as they have sort of pre-built functions within Vapi, like the end call function I always enable, because that allows the assistant to actually end the call, and it won't hang on the call if the user just stops responding. It also allows if the person calling the AI assistant says goodbye, then the AI assistant doesn't have to wait for the user to hang up. So that will both save you money and make it sound more realistic. And then I like to just delete these end call phrases because you don't have to have pre-built ones like this. So if this is empty, then the assistant will fill in the end call phrase with whatever flows for the actual discussion. And then this forwarding phone number is, like I mentioned previously, if you do put a phone number in here and someone calls the assistant and says they want the call forwarded to a human, it will then call whatever number is in here. And then under this advanced tab is where you get, as you could expect, more advanced configurations and sort of just miscellaneous things that don't fit under the domains of function, voice, transcriber, and model. And so audio recording, you almost always want to have that on unless you work in the medical field or you're creating assistants for the medical field and you need to comply with HIPAA. Then you would just check that and that gets rid of audio. But that typically does not apply to most people. And then if your caller is on video, it can record video as well. Silence timeout is, and there are descriptions for each of these, so I won't explain them super in depth. A lot of them are self-explanatory. I like to keep silence timeout a bit shorter than 30 seconds, around 20 seconds, and that's basically if no one says anything on the call. It's after that amount of seconds the call will end. Response delay, 0.1 is fine. These you don't really need to change. Interruption threshold is a bit more confusing. That's how many words the client has to say for the AI to stop talking if the AI is in the middle of a sentence. And 2 is usually good for this. Anything less than that and you risk someone coughing or accidentally interrupting, and that would mess up the AI. And then maximum duration is just how long a call could possibly last. So 3,600 seconds is what it goes up to, and that's a full hour. 1,800 seconds is half an hour. So I usually like around 600 seconds. That's 10 minutes, which is pretty long for one of these AI callers to be on the phone. But again, with testing, you know, if you hit that max duration a bunch, then you sort of know you should increase it. That's just with testing out in the field. You'll figure out for all of these what actually works best. So this server URL, specifically under this advanced tab, this will also be there under the functions if you create a function. But this basically is where you would paste a webhook and it would send all this additional information to that webhook, so then you can then use that data in make.com and put it in a Google Sheet or any other CRM, or sort of put it in an email. Any sort of functions you would want to use at the end of a call, sending the data from the call, you would paste a webhook there and then make those automations outside of Vapi. So these client messages is the different data that will actually be sent out to this URL at the end of the call that Vapi will capture. You can grab a bunch of stuff, but usually it's fine with what they actually have here. Same with the server messages. You can grab any of these. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. I do actually want the transcript. And then voicemail message, if it's an inbound caller, you usually won't have to voicemail, but if you want one, you can say, "You've reached a Rose AI voicemail. Please leave a message after the beep and we'll get back to you as soon as possible." End call message. This again, I keep empty, and the AI will sort of just sense what they should say at the end of the call. So if the user's like, "Hey, have a good day," Vapi won't just say the generic goodbye or pre-filled end call message. It'll say, "Have a good day too, goodbye," and sort of be more in the flow of the call. And then here are idle messages, which are basically if the user goes into like one of these silence timeouts where they don't talk for a while. This is where the assistant will say something. "Are you still there?" is a pretty solid one, and just ask if they're still there. And then if you want a max number of idle messages, you can do that here. And then this is basically how many seconds before an idle message is spoken. This you can also test. I haven't tested this out a whole bunch, but just I think 5 is fine. Maybe I'll go with 6 seconds. So just make sure to publish every time you make edits. So in the analysis tab is where you can control a lot of these sort of client messages and server messages, control what their actual output is within Vapi. And so for the summary, you can prompt the summary. I like to say put it in bullet points. So I'll create a quick prompt for the summary that I like. And so here I created just a quick summary prompt just saying you're an expert summarizer. Take down the main points of the call and summarize them into bullet points. Try and remove any fluff and only provide relevant information so that when you do look at the summary of the transcript, just real concise bullet points, and you get to the meat of what you actually need to know. And then here for the success evaluation within Vapi, based on the transcript, it'll look through and then output an evaluation of how the call went based on these parameters you put in here for the prompt and the rubric. So for the prompt, since this is a customer support rep, I said you're an expert call evaluator. Sorry, I copy and pasted this from my last demo. And again, one of the great things about Vapi is you can reuse a lot of the intellectual property or things you made for other assistants. And so you're an expert call evaluator for an AI, Rose AI. You'll analyze the transcript of the call and see if the customer's query has been resolved. Return true if the customer's query has been resolved, and return false if it has not been resolved. And then within this, we will want to do the true-false query, which is the pass-fail. And you can also see there are a bunch of different rubrics you can judge by. Pass-fail is the one specifically I have in here, and that I describe in which situation we would want true and which situation we would want false return. And then in structured data, this is where you would extract any additional information from the call that you want. So in my last tutorial that I made of the SaaS customer support agent, AI voice assistant, we used the structured data to extract what department the voice assistant actually routed to, whether that was tech, sales, or support, so that that company can track, wow, we're getting a lot of customer support queries for our sales department. Maybe our messaging on that and our marketing isn't as clear on what our prices are. That's just one potential use case, but in here, you could put any sort of data. If you want to track KPIs, you could track, how long the calls go within here. And so basically what you would do is prompt how you want to extract the structured data, and then the data schema is how you would define that data. So say I wanted to track the name of the prospect, and so I go name, this is the name that the prospect gives us. And then I would prompt it, extract the name that the caller provides and store it in the name property field. And then under this property, you also define what sort of data it is. So string is just like a string of text, number's a number, Booleans like true, false, yes, no. And then an array is a more structured piece of data where there's actual columns and stuff like that. And so just save that. And then you have name. And so once again, I just want to mention that this is a super basic use case that I'm creating here. It can get a lot more complex. I'm not including any booking functions or any functions during the call to grab more data, such as a customer ID and then tracking, that customer within our CRM. And I'm also not updating any CRMs, such as go high level within this. I'm not running any functions like those. However, I will go into make.com right now and show you some of the end of call functions, since those are pretty simple and it uses a lot of this analysis tab that we just went over. So here I am within make.com. And again, all these resources and everything I'm using in this is linked down below for you to sign up and start building alongside me. I would highly recommend that you follow along with this video to learn the platform. And so within Make, you just want to go to this scenarios tab, create a new scenario. I'll just name this Rose AI Customer Support Rep. And then you want to start this out with a webhook and then a custom webhook. And then you'll have to add your own webhook name. So doing a Rose AI Customer Support. Save that, and then you want to copy this, go back into Vapi, go back into Advanced, and paste it right where the server URL is. And then make sure it's published. And then once you're back in here, if we want to send this information to Google Sheet, I'll show you how to do that. And for this webhook, you want to set it to scheduling on and instant. So that's basically anytime. It'll be triggered anytime anyone calls and data will flow through this customer rep. And so basically what we will want to do right now is test this webhook and see if it will run and gather all the data from a call. And how we will do that is you could just talk to it within here. But since I have my entire setup in my mic right here, what I'm going to do is go to my phone numbers, set my inbound settings, and set my inbound assistant to this a Rose AI customer rep. When I grab my phone and I call a Rose AI demo.
Hi, this is Ava, an AI customer support assistant with a Rose AI. How can I help you?
Hi, how can you help me out?
Hi there. I can assist you with a variety of customer support needs, such as 1. Providing information about products, services, or company policies. 2. Helping you troubleshoot common technical issues. 3. Assisting with order status, tracking, returns, or account related.
And so it was sort of rambling on there. And also one thing I do want to note, you notice how it was talking like 1, 2. I don't really like that. So actually before we see if this webhook worked, I'm going to go to this customer rep and add in additional notes at the bottom of this to say do not use numbers in your response. Because it just sounds unnatural when it sort of rambles off in such a structured way. And you can do that. I noticed something I didn't like, and I added it at the bottom of my prompt. So now the assistant will hopefully not do that or use numbers in their response anymore. And so if we go to the past scenarios for this webhook, we can see that if you go up here, that it did work. You can see the message. It has the full transcript of what I said. It has a summary. It has the messages, analysis, all of that. And so the reason we do that is now, once we go back in here and create another module, which will actually be a router, we can use the specific variables within this webhook. So condition. And so I'm not sure why these variables aren't showing up here, but I'll just call again and see if it works this time. A Rose AI demo. And I'm not sure why it didn't work because
Hi, this is Ava, an AI customer support assistant.
It had worked before. Hey, how's your day going, Ava?
Hello, my day is going great. Thank you for asking. How can I assist you today?
You really can't. I'll see you later. And so we will hopefully see that this function runs and that and so it didn't run that time either. Although I bet if I go out here, I can see save changes. I can see that it did run, which is interesting. So what I will do is go back in here. I will save it, and I will turn off automatic scheduling. I will call the assistant once again, and that way, once we hit run once, is when the data will flow through, and it won't do it instantly. Call Arose AI demo.
Hi, this is Ava, an AI customer support assistant with Arose AI. How can I help you?
Hey, I really wish you could send your data in a way that works for me through Make.
I understand the importance of having data in a format that works seamlessly with your tools. While I can't directly integrate with Make, I can guide you on how to.
And so, let's see if we run once and then use existing data. We can see what was this message. So that was not the end of call report. However, we should still be able to filter. And here you go. So if we have message type, we want to filter for end of call report. And then this one could be for function calling. So I think that's function dash call. And this condition is type. But basically what you can see, and I will run this a couple more times using existing data. So that was transcript. And so now, after you run through all that data, we should be able to connect Google Sheets. And what we want to do is add a row. And I will create a Google Sheet right now that we can actually use within Make. And so within Google Sheets, I just created an Arose AI customer support dashboard. And this one, again, is super simple. You can add graphs. In my last demo, I added actually specific functions and scripts that would edit the data based on what was there. But for this, I just have the date and time, from number, the call summary, the transcript, the recording of the call, and then this resolved, which is that true false variable that we looked at before, which is sort of the end of call report and success evaluation. And so now, if we go in here, you will have to connect your Google Sheets account to do this. If you go choose a file, I want to go Arose AI customer support dashboard. Sheet name, just sheet 1, and it does contain headers. Then within the date and time, you want to look at, and once again, it's only giving me the transcript data and not the end of call report. So I'm going to call the demo again and see if I can get that end of call report to come through this webhook so we can use that data. Okay, so I just spent a good amount of time troubleshooting. I found out the issue was here in Vapi. I had accidentally clicked this transcript button, which you do not want to do. Because it kept saying the transcript, it would send it basically word by word. It would clog up the webhook. So going back here into Make, we can see that when you click on here, within this, you have all the different pieces of data that are sent through the webhook. So date and time, you just want to do timestamp, from number. I'm going to pause this real quick because it's my actual number, but I'll show you how to find it. So if you go into call and then customer right here, that's where you find the from number. Summary, I believe, is under, so I'm not actually sure how to find this summary or transcript. Give me a second and I will also troubleshoot this. So what I did, I just fixed it. Again, that took a bit. But what I did is I actually changed this filter. It's supposed to be, instead of, it should be this condition stays the same. So that message type. And that should be end of call report with these dashes, not end call report, which is what I had before. And then I also, in this Vapi dashboard, only chose the end of call report server message. I will add back function call, but I just did that so it will only send the end of call report through the webhook so that we could get all that data. And then if you look here, bada bing, bada boom, under this analysis tab is where you should find the call summary. Here's the transcript. Call recording will be under stereo recording URL, and resolve should be under analysis, and then success evaluation. And then actually, if we want their name, see this, remember the structured data we created? It would be name. It's empty right now because I did not provide a name on that demo call. However, you can fill in all these fields with what you want. It doesn't have to be just webhook data. You could type, if we wanted to type hello in this field every time, then we could do that. And again, if you add more modules into Make, other than just a webhook, a router, and a Google Sheet that send more data, you can use that data to then input both into a Google Sheet or wherever you want in these Make scenarios. And so I just wanted to show that to you a bit, and then I will actually go through a demo call right now and see how this works. And after that, we'll add a knowledge base, and then finally we will be done with this build.
Hi, this is Ava, an AI customer support assistant with Arose AI. How can I help you?
Hey, I was just wondering how I could contact you guys.
You can reach us through a few different channels. If you prefer email, you can send your inquiries to support@arosai.com. For more immediate assistance, you can call our customer support line at 555-123-4567. We're also available.
Thank you.
through our
I have to
website.
go.
Thank you for contacting us. Have a great day.
You can see the assistant actually hung up there. And again, I didn't put any specific information or any knowledge base, so it's just giving generic responses. But then if we go to this dashboard, hopefully it should update with the new fields inputted. Oh, it looks like I forgot to save this actual Make scenario before making that call. So let me run through this again. And then boom, if we look here, it just updated this dashboard with everything that we asked for it. The call summary, transcript, recording. Was our query resolved? No. This would be name if there was one. So I would just put name, and then it also put in hello like we asked in here, and I'll actually delete that. But there you can see how the end of call report works. So I will go through now making a knowledge base for this assistant. I don't actually have like a set of FAQs for my company or anything like that. So I'm gonna actually ask ChatGPT to make 10 of them that might be common FAQs that I would get, consisting of 10 FAQs. And let's see what it puts out. Now, if you do have on your website an FAQ page, you can always paste that in here and ask ChatGPT to format that for you. And that works incredibly well for creating these FAQ knowledge bases. If you also have like an About Us page, you can copy that, ask ChatGPT to format it in a knowledge base structure. It'll do that for you. And I just usually use Google Docs for these knowledge bases. You can use any sort of platform where you can download the document. Rose AI customer rep knowledge base. We can take a look at this. Here we have just a bunch of FAQs. If you want to input these into the assistant, you just download whatever format. Usually docx or PDF work the best. I like docx. If you go to files, and then you can just choose to upload a file. Click on it, upload file, and boom, this uploads it into the knowledge base. And then you want to go back to your assistant. You want to go down, where is it? There we go. And then you go under this knowledge base tab, and then you choose the knowledge base you want. You can choose multiple knowledge bases. And then I also like to include, when you kind of prompt the AI voice assistant to actually go into the knowledge base, like refer to that knowledge base in specific situations, It's actually a bit more accurate. And just some things to note now about knowledge bases is I'll go back over here. It's also helpful to format it like a prompt. So this markdown, this how you talk, stuff like that, you want it to be easily consumable for the chatbot or AI voice caller, whatever you're creating. Stuff like markdown formatting, as you see here, titles, stuff like that is helpful. You also never want to have like too much information. So this is only 2 pages. Vapi allows you to upload these massive files. Right now, I wouldn't recommend using anything too big. I wouldn't recommend using anything over 10 pages. If possible, if you're able to split up that content into 2 or 3 different domains. So like in the last video I made about the SaaS customer service rep, I had a different knowledge base for tech support, customer support, and sales support. I had a different knowledge base for each one. That helps the AI caller get a lot deeper and not have any information get lost sort of in the middle of these massive files. And then always make sure to publish. Let's test out this knowledge base. Call a Rose AI demo. I just muted it. So I will ask it one of the questions here.
How can I help you?
Hi. Hi, what is a Rose AI?
A Rose AI is an AI development agency that specializes in creating voice AI solutions for small businesses. Our services help improve customer support, streamline operations, and enhance overall business efficiency. Is there something specific you would like to know about a Rose AI?
Yeah, can a Rose AI assistants handle multiple languages?
Yes, a Rose AI assistant can be configured to support multiple languages, allowing you to serve a diverse customer base more effectively. Please let us know your language requirements during the setup process.
Are you there?
Are you still there? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here. How can I assist you?
Can I customize like some of the responses that you guys give?
Yes, you can customize the responses of a Rose AI assistant to match your brand's voice and style. Our team will work with you to ensure that the assistant's responses align with your business's specific needs and preferences. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions in the future, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
And so there, you saw it was able to answer all these questions verbatim, actually. If you find that these answers, you don't want to read it word for word, you could ask ChatGPT to split this up into bullet points. And what that will do is it'll allow the voice AI to freestyle a bit more. And it'll kind of put together those bullet points and connections and not read it. Now if we go to this Google Sheet, we will see that everything is filled out, and then this resolved question here is true because the AI assistant answered all of my questions, and so everything has been resolved. And now going back into Vapi, you can see that we now have a fully fledged out, fully usable AI assistant customer rep for our company. Something to note, if you want multiple phone numbers, you can just buy multiple phone numbers and connect multiple inbound assistants to each one. So say on your website you have a phone number specifically if you have sales questions, or one if you have tech questions, or one if you want to return a product, stuff like that, or leave a review. You could just buy multiple numbers. They're only $2 a month. And once again, you can use the link in this bio to sign up for all of these softwares for free. And so thank you for watching this video. I know it's a bit longer, but I wanted to give you a full walkthrough. Again, I apologize. I'm not able to take you in depth with the squads or the flows. However, I will do that very soon as I get more familiar with it. And as Vapi starts to develop those features more, I can give in-depth walkthroughs of those as well. But now you should be equipped to make fully functional, deployable AI voice callers for your company or even build them for other companies. And so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.